Hello everyone, it is Crystal. I am back with a video for y'all, and you're looking at my counter, but I'm about to show you my favorite bread recipe, and I'm putting my dough hook on my stand mixer, and the mixer I have, excuse me, is a Cheftronics stand mixer. Now, first thing that before I start this recipe, I know this, I memorized this recipe, I know it by heart, but before I start it, I do want to say, this is not my original recipe. This recipe comes from a channel, I don't know the lady's name, but her channel name is Cool Chick 7. So this is her recipe. It is not mine. Secondly, if you hear banging, hammering, construction sounds, there are some people working on a building on our property. So that's what that noise is if you hear it. Now, first things first, I am going to spray my bowl with some cooking spray, and I'm going to do that over my sink so that I don't make a mess on my counters. Now you might say, why are you spraying your bowl? Because you will use this to oil your bread dough and let it rise. This particular recipe makes 2 loaves, and I'll do the recipe in this video, and then the next video I will show you how to actually bake it. Now, first thing first, get 2 cups of warm, not hot water, because if you have your water too hot, it will kill your yeast, and if it's too cold, your yeast will not activate properly. Okay, so we need 2 cups of this. So there's 1, and 2. Okay, so next thing, I'm gonna go put this measuring cup back in my drawer here, so that I don't misplace it. Okay, so to warm water, you need 2 tablespoons of yeast. Now, this is active dry yeast. I also measure this over my sink so that I don't make a mess everywhere. Now, I bought my yeast in bulk. If you don't buy your yeast in bulk, you can use 2 bags or 2 packages of active dry yeast. There's 1, and here's the second. Okay, got all that done. Put my measuring spoons away. Okay, so now you can store your yeast in the freezer if you want to, but I use it so much that I don't even do that. I just put it in a gallon bag, seal it up really good, and put it in my cabinet. Now the next thing you're gonna need is 2/3 cup of a sweetener. I say a sweetener because you can use honey, sugar, sugar substitute, whatever you want. I'm going to do honey, and this is a brand new honey container. I'm really not measuring this. Okay. I just put some honey in. I'm going to gently wash the top of this honey container because I don't want ants. Then I just put this up. All right. So now I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to mix the honey, the water, and the yeast together. Okay. So now we're going to wait for about 5 minutes. Alexa, set a timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, starting now.
So while the timer is counting down, I want to talk to you about how much I have enjoyed making this bread. I love to make bread. It's one of those things that is just, you know, it's kind of funny because people are like, oh, you're going to make bread, you know, aren't you, kind of worried about, oh, bread is so, and I'm talking about not people in my family, but people that I've watched. And I've watched several videos on how to make bread. This particular recipe from Cool Chick 7 is my favorite. It is an Amish white bread recipe, and it makes 2 loaves. Now, I'm going to do some experimentation with this bread dough. Not today, because we're out of bread and I need more. But at some point, I do want to try to make my own homemade cinnamon rolls using this particular same recipe. So if you guys are interested in me doing a recipe with that, then let me know and I will be happy to do so. The other thing that has been so much fun is just, it's so weird, I guess you could say, but very I don't know, comforting, calming to make bread. I don't know, I've enjoyed it a lot. While I'm talking, I forgot to grab out my oil. You do need a fourth of a cup of oil in your bread. Now, you could use melted butter if you wanted to. I'm not putting the oil in just yet. And I also forgot my salt. And again, don't put that in just yet either, because the salt could kill your yeast. So the first time I made this, though, I will say I did forget to put the salt in until I had already been kneading my bread, and it was okay. I just added some salt and kneaded it in, but it's better if you don't forget that step. I'll tell you what to do as soon as we are done letting the yeast proof. And that's an important step because you want your yeast to proof. You want it to be very nice and foamy, and it just has that wonderful yeasty smell. Oh, I love it. And this particular yeast, I forgot even what it, maybe it's, hold on. Alexa, shop Amazon for dry yeast.
Based on your order history, I found Red Star Active Dry Yeast.
Alexa,
2-pound
stop.
pouch. You last purchased this product on February 2024. It's $8.70.
Alexa, stop. Okay, sorry. But yes, I thought it was Active Star. No, Red Star Active Dry Yeast. You don't want to use the rapid rise, the instant. Don't use that. If you don't want to buy your yeast in bulk And I didn't the first time I made this. So I'll show you, or tell you. Here it is. This is 2 packets of the Great Value yeast. So if you don't have you're not buying it in bulk, get some packets of whatever brand of yeast. I prefer Great Value if I'm not buying it in bulk. But this is a 2-pound pouch that I just purchased. And I love this yeast. And we're probably getting close to our 5 minutes being up. But you can, just the smell of the yeast alone is amazing. It's so good. So I love making bread. It's very fun and it's not hard at all to do. So it's a lot of fun. So don't let it intimidate you. You know, don't be like, oh dang, I really want to make bread, but I'm kind of like, I don't know, should I? Da, da, da. Just do it. Get in the kitchen and do it. The worst thing that could happen is you have to throw your ingredients away. You know, but you won't. If you follow this recipe to the letter that I'm giving to you, and as my cool chick 7, as she gives it, you'll be perfect. You'll be golden, and your bread will be amazing. And you'll be like, people will be like, oh my gosh, I really want some of your bread. Da, da, da. So I know y'all can't smell. You don't have smell-o-vision, but the yeast smells so good. You don't want your water to be too hot or too cold, because if your water is too hot, it will kill. Alexa, stop. Okay. Now, this has been 5 minutes. Yep, it's nice and foamy. Okay. Next thing we're adding, a 1/4 cup of oil. Now, the first time I did this, I did like a tablespoon. The second time I did less, but we're gonna do the oil. All right, next, bread flour. Now, you could use all-purpose flour, but I prefer using bread flour. So you need 6 cups of bread flour, and I keep my bread flour in a Ziploc bag, like a big gallon freezer bag. Oops. There's 1, we need 6. Three. 4. 1 more. Now, the lady whose recipe I'm using, she kneads her bread by hand, but I'm not doing that. I'm going to use my mixer. You want to make sure that your flour is either in a sealed, like airtight container, or in a big freezer bag like my flour is. You want to make sure it's sealed completely, because you don't want anything getting in your flour. Alright. Now we can add our salt. And you're not, I think I want to say she calls like for a teaspoon of salt, but I just grind some salt in here. All right. Put my salt back up. I like to clean as I go. All right, now all you have to do, put your mixer, your bowl on your mixer. I have a Cheftronics brand mixer, and that's what I use. Now I'm going to put the lever down, and I'm going to turn it on 1 and let it start moving. I'm going to wash my hands. And wash out my sink, because we all know that I make a mess. You can hear your mixer starting to struggle a little bit on one. So when that happens, you can bump it to 2. Just let it be. Alrighty. I'm going to lift up my mixer. Oh yes, that's beautiful. Beautiful dough. Yeah. It's perfect. Ooh, there's a little bit on the side. There's a little bit of dough that's a little moist on the side. The mixer has kicked it up there. Thank you, Mr. Dough Hook. I'll wash that in a second. Now I'm going to take my mixing bowl off of my mixer. I'm going to give this some spray. And I'm going to turn this dough Drop the lid. That's not good. Okay. Now, I'm going to cover this bread dough with a paper towel. And I'm going to let it rise for 1 hour. And this is where we will pick up with part 2 of this video. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video. Bye. Alexa, set a timer for 1 hour.
1 hour, starting now.